Abend, bonsoir, buenas noches to investors in North and South America. Ohio gozaimasu, 안녕하세요, 大家早晨. Good morning to investors in Asia. Buenas noches, good night to investors in Europe and Africa. I'm Daniel Yu speaking from Hong Kong. It's 17th October here and 16th in Wall Street. Besides the technical trend, this time I will approach the market from 5 sides, including number 1, market sentiment, number 2, CPI and PPI, number 3, recession worry, number 4, Russian-Ukraine conflict, number 5, semiconductor, and by the end we'll have some stock recommendations. Market has been confirmed to be bearish on 26 September, where Dow Jones dropped under the watershed of 29562. So all 3 major indices are under the watershed, and US stock market is officially proclaimed entering into bear market. But it does not mean it will go strictly down, such as NASDAQ and S&P have been shuttling up and down for several months. I have already at once said, think for the best but prepare for the worst. So the focus is to see whether it will drop under the previous support for Dow Jones, even if it has dropped under the previous low of 17th June at 29653, but on market opening of last Friday, still not under the low of 30th September at 28715, but the low of NASDAQ of 16th June at 10565 already dropped under on Monday, October the 10th. The low of S&P on 17th June is at 3636, already dropped under on 27th September. Market is waiting for a further drop, as they know inflation will cap in a high level, even retreated a little. For the past week, investors are waiting anxiously for the CPI. Federal Reserve kept on releasing hawkish speeches. People know that inflation should have already reached top in June at 9.1% and now it's actually dropping. But the speed is too slow in comparison with the rise of last year, for the Fed had already used heavy dose to cure it by raising the interest rate at 75 basis points for 3 consecutive times since June, which is a rare case. For the PPI on Wednesday, the year rate lowered from 8.7% to 8.5%, but monthly rate rose from minus 0.2% to positive 0.4%. Therefore, these two eliminate each other. But what the Fed cares most is the core yield rate. It kept flat at 7.2% as last month. For monthly core rate, it is kept at 0.3% unchanged. To sum up, it is still in high level. So on Thursday, most investors have prepared well for bad news to come. The CPI is worse than expectation of 8.1%. It is released at 8.2%, even lower than previous of 8.3%. But it showed the Fed could not lower it greatly from March 2022 till now. Monthly rate rose from 0.1% to 0.4%, and above all, the focus of the Fed is at the core rate. It rose from 6.3% to 6.6%. Conclusion is inflation not yet controlled and figures are worse than expectation. Therefore, Dow Jones dropped over 500 points on market opening. After that, nothing happened. No one gives speech to consolidate them. It is the psychological state of investors change. They digested the bad news and buy on bad news. This is the recent trend. They look further ahead, knowing that interest rate will reach the top in 2023 and go down in 2024. It won't last too long. So 3 major indices show large big white candlesticks. Therefore, market sentiment governs the market and can turn bad news to good news. That is why our seminars have a unique psychological test in a person-to-person style for investors since 2006. It is unique in the market. I will arrange around-the-world seminars from time to time to major cities of the world to promote this. As for recession, it is really a worry. High inflation will bring to rate hike, and this rate increasing cycle still will carry on for a certain time. High interest rate will be kept for 1 year more. Now, non-farm payroll is still growing at 263k, even lower than previous month's 350k. During early stage of recovery, 250k is considered a pass mark, and later as economy enter into prosperity, 150k is accepted. As for unemployment, is at a very low condition. Normally, when the unemployment rate of US is under 5%, it is considered to be in a good condition. This month dropped from 3.7% to 3.5%. It is very hard to say US will enter into recession in such a nice employment situation. High inflation is a blow to consuming market, and above all, the amount in mortgage market is even affected quicker. It made application declines. When carries on will bring about recession next year. While for Russian-Ukraine conflict today is the 236th day, there is a counting of days every day in the US Stock Express. It is published daily on all trading days and can be seen in this website. On the average, it has 6 pages. Readers can refer to this website. Recently, the $500 million Russian super yacht, the knot is in Hong Kong, and I had exclusive photo concerning it in the Express. US already warned them should not use Hong Kong as a safe haven for enterprise to flee away from sanction of US, or else we will have secondary sanction to Hong Kong, and some people thought it may bring more Russian enterprises to Hong Kong. NATO and EU warned Russia if they use nuclear weapons against Ukraine will be destroyed completely by traditional weapons, and US warned of beheading against Putin. Russia is softened and Putin is willing to meet Biden in G20 of Indonesia in November for peace talk. Finally, the sanction of semiconductor of US against China really is a big blow to China, but will also hurt US. Joe Biden is so strict to China because he learned from the fighting in Ukraine. If it does not control the export of chips to China, some other day when war is broken out between these two countries, the chips can develop into various kinds of weapons, and his task has something more important than to win a war, that is to stop the breaking out of a war. So tight sanction is needed, but China said they can develop their chips on their own. This led to a great drop of NASDAQ on last Friday and is weakest among the 3 indices. A falling hammer can be seen, and the height is pressed down by the 20 SMA. And the previous low is at 10088, which is quite easy to penetrate. For now, it's in extension of Wave 5. For Dow Jones, it is now in truncation of Wave 5 and should watch the breaking through. It is still above the watershed of bear market of 29562. Last closing is 29634. It is forming a small double bottom. When penetrated downward under 28660, the formation fell. When breaking up the 30454 will go further upward to wave 2 of 32540 will be clear in the coming week. The third week of the month is of lesser economic indicators announcing, but still should mind the industrial production on Tuesday, construction permit and new home sales and petroleum inventory on Wednesday, initial claims, continuous claims and existing home sales on Thursday. To sum up, mind the real estate market trend. As for stock recommendations, in such a case, keep off the semiconductor stocks and concentrate on entertainment stocks such as Pepsi Cola, which had a nice result announced. McDonald's and Coke also. Not only they have a big white candlestick strong, but also the year line that is the 250 SMA kept rising for the whole year of 2022, even the market is falling. It shows their strong anti-falling power and means if the market is falling, they are still worthwhile to invest. So, for more details, please refer to the US Stock Express published daily in this website. Finally, I have a series of 14 teaching videos with certain tests and questions to think as homework. They not only cover fundamental, technical, and economic sectors, but also merging with music therapy, so it is too generous. Details can be seen in this website. Hereby, I give one example of the sudden tests in my teaching videos. When talking about the jumping gaps, I would not use form-fitting education and just ask investors to listen carefully. I take out a live chart of NASDAQ and cover the future trend. I show them 2 jumping gaps and ask them which gap will be filled first. When you fail in such a test, no one knows. But when you passed, you can proudly tell your friends how you overcome the adversity. With effective from video 4, there are 2 sudden tests in each video on average. I do not want my students to be a listener. I want them to be a thinker and find out the solution on their own. So by the end of each video, there's a question for investors to think as homework, such as why the Security and Exchange Commission would launch out such a policy, and answer will be given in next video. I also want to show an example of the US Stock Express. In bull market, page 1 is the recommendation of hot stocks, and in bear market, we'll talk about the trend of indexes. Page 2 is economic indicator and additional materials on hot topics. Page 3 is north, east, west, south is news. Page 4 will be special information such as top 9 banks of the world forecasting interest rate. And whenever there's a change in interest rate, we provide the interest table of all major central banks, which is most abundant. Page 5 is world observation in discussion of a series of hot topics for 1 or 2 weeks, such as the topic of nuclear crisis, European Union, semiconductors, and today the content is concerning will Biden really meet Putin. Page 6 is market observation as other people are talking on today's market. So, shall we stop here? Sayonara, auf Wiedersehen, adieu, 再见, see you next week.